Hello everyone, this is Coach Crezo again with our second podcast. Today we are going to talk about. I will move out of the video again, and we are going to work today to talk about uh, posing a question: Is football or leeway perfect? So this is the question that we are going to be addressing today. Probably neither one are perfect. So what we want is that you watch this video, and by the end of the video you're gonna come to your own conclusion as to either are perfect, if both are imperfect, and we're gonna show you three unique features of leeway in which we addressed uh, three situations that we understand that the rules that we will be talking about improved the outcomes, we improved the situation on the field. So the three aspects, before we start, I want to mention the following. Uh, if you are watching this video, is because you like sports, is because you like soccer, and that's what we all do. Remember, those who designed, field tested, and ultimately invented the leeway like soccer. We are not no different than that. So this is the reality. We 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 like soccer, and we are going to work to show in this video three unique rules that addresses three situations in soccer that we believe that we improved with the rules that we have in Leeway. I hope I make myself clear. So the three aspects are the offside rule, the forward rule, and the Sidekick In. For each one of these, we are going to mention what are the situation on the field. And then I'm going to mention how the offside work for this rule in soccer, in football, and how the offside rule work in leeway, and what are the implications. For the forward rule, they're very same, and for the Sidekick In, they're very same. Again, we are trying to keep this video. I could speak about that for easily 1 hour, but we are not going to make a 1 hour video here. So let's try to keep this video around 15, 17 minutes. But please watch the whole video so you can have a complete assessment of all the points covered, which is going to be all those 3 points. So let's get started. The offside rule. Here we have our three referees. I want to put this referee out of the way so it does not bother us a little bit. We don't have a referee here. He is our team. He is the other team. He is the ball. This is, as we already know, the kickoff position. Let's talk about the offside. In soccer, we know that if we have your defense here, let's remove some, let's pretend for a second that this is a soccer match. This is a soccer field. These all players are here. Okay? Let's forget that we have 12 players here. And these are my four defenders, because I want to talk about the offside rule. If I position my four defenders in this format, my attackers, the attackers of the other team, could be in a position similar like that, right? Take a look. They would be not behind the line of the defense, otherwise they will be in an offside position. So far we are all good. What is the problem with that? The first problem with that is that this, the way they work, because the attackers cannot be behind the line of the defense, the position of the defender, at the time that the ball is passed to them. Okay, so here is my blue teammate. If he's going to launch that ball to his teammate here, this player cannot be in this position because he's going to be offside. So this is pretty clear. Well, so the problem that has happened with that are twofold, are two problems. Number one, many times the position of between the defender and the attacker are minimal. The difference between their body position are so minimal, is a matter of inches that do not really affect the competitiveness of the play. I want to repeat that again. Many times, two players in attack are in a position in which the difference between their body parts are so small, it's like 3-4 inches, that does not really affect how competitive that play was. And despite of that, sometimes they even score a goal, and the goal is ruled after the VAR is ruled invalid. We see that all the time. So this was one of the situations that we wanted to address when we began to consider, to conceive, to think about creating Leeway. So the other problem with the offside rule, in addition to that, is that, so this is the first aspect. It nullifies legit goals that were with the plays that were legit challenged, whereas there was a real competition between defender and attacker. The other is that many coaches, like myself, began to use the artificial conduct of training and rehearsing their defense to give one little step ahead and automatically put the defense in an offside position. So, in other words, the defenders has the power, has the ability, has the capability to cause the attacker to be in an offside position. So this is another aspect that probably was not anticipated at the time that the offside rule was created back in the 19th century. Probably nobody thought that people were going to create the attacker to be in an offside position. But that's what everybody does. I have done that dozens of times. I have put attack players of the opposite team dozens of times in offside. And everybody does that all the time. And comes to a point that the attacker does not know what to do. The ball is launched, the attacker does not know if he has to run backward first and then run forward, or if he's going to stay. It's a nightmare, because if the attacker steps forward at the time that the ball is launched, the attacker will be offside. So this was addressed with the offside rule in Leeway. How so? Because in Leeway, the offside rule does not take into consideration the position between attacker and defender. There is nothing to do with that. In Leeway, an attacker, and only the attacker, him or herself, can put him or herself in an offside position. I want to repeat that again. In Leeway, only the attacker, him or herself, can put him or herself in an offside position based on the position that he or she is on the field. For example, these 4 players here, these 4 attackers here, will never be offside under any circumstance. Under any circumstance, an attacker outside of the 5 yards will be offside. Because all players, if a player is outside of the 5 yards, at the time that the ball is launched to them, they are never, with a big N, they are never in an offside position. I cannot, this is as clear as I can be. The ball can come from Mars, from Jupiter, from the locker room, from the building next to the stadium. They will not be in offside. Doesn't matter the position of the defender. So this is number one. If they are indeed inside the 5 yard, then we can begin to talk about, is the ball in the 5 yard? Is the ball rolling? Is the ball still not rolling like a corner? In this, if the ball is rolling inside the 5 yard, they will not be as well in offside. So basically, if the player is outside of the 5 yard, the attacker, they will never be offside. So we basically eliminated, we took the power from the defense to limit the movement of the attackers. I want to repeat that again. With this format, with this setup of rule, we took away the power of the defender to cause attackers to be in offside. Because I want to repeat myself, I have put attackers dozens of times in offside position, playing against me in many matches. And we see that all the time. Comes to a point that the attacker gets tired, cannot, as I said before, if you are here and the defender is beginning to step forward, you don't know what you're going to do. What are you going to do? Because if you were like that, I give one step forward, a little step, you're already offside. You're already offside. So this is a manipulation of the rule that we use because these are what coaches are supposed to do, to play legally inside the rules, and the rules in football, soccer allow to do that. So in Leeway, this is the first rule. I could talk more about that, but so far for this short video, this is what I want to talk about. This is the point that objectively I want to address about the offside rule. The second rule that I want to address here, the second situation, is the forward rule. That, to my surprise, is not being the video about forward rule. I have been checking on our YouTube channel, Leeway Sport International, and people is not either people is missing this point or they already understood because it's a very simple rule. It's not being viewed very frequently. I know it's a very simple rule, but I'm kind of surprised that this is a very important rule. What is the rule? It's very simple. In Leeway, as I mentioned in the previous video, if you have the ball here, once you cross the midfield line in possession of the ball, you cannot kick the ball back into your field. What's the problem with that? Let's break this down. What is the big deal with this? The big deal is that, let me put the scenario. The blue team is winning 3-0. I'm talking about soccer. The blue team, your team, is winning 3-0. It's the beginning of the second half. You, instead of beginning to keep on playing and attacking, you begin to get the ball, cross the ball until the midfield, and when you pass the midfield, because you're already winning by 3-0, you begin to kick the ball back into defensive field. These are anti-sportsmanship, but everybody does because you're already thinking about the next match. You don't want your player of your team that is already winning to get injured, to get a yellow card, to have interaction with defenders, to have opportunity to get injured, to get a yellow card, to wear them out. So you begin what? To avoid game. This is bad for the entertainment. It's bad for the event. It's bad for the game. And I do that all the time. Everybody does that. So what happens? The other team, the team that is losing, has to go after the ball, chasing the ball on the defensive field. Right? Because this ball is kicked down all the way down here to the goalkeeper, and then the goalkeeper kick to another defender, and the other team that is losing has to track, to chase the ball like you are chasing a kid. This is not sportsmanship. When you go to the stadium, when you go to watch a match, what are you looking for? You are looking for someone with the ball, challenging another, trying to attack, and another player defending. That's what you are looking for. So is there something unheard of? No. Basketball has exactly rule like that, except that in basketball, they have a shot clock. We don't have a shot clock. I don't think it's necessary to have a shot clock. But in basketball, as all of us know, once you cross the mid-court, you cannot throw the ball back to your defense court for this very same reason. Because otherwise, you would put 10, 15 points of difference, and you would begin to click the ball from here to here, and the game was over. Right? This is exactly the same principle. Because you have to cross, you have a time to cross and make the game time efficient and sportsmanship-like. This is it. This is a problem in soccer. I play soccer. I coach soccer, and this is a problem. And it's bad for the audience, because sometimes even when your team is winning, you don't want to see that. I want to repeat that again. Many times, even when your team is winning, you don't like to see your team kicking the ball to the goalkeeper and running the ball, and the other team chasing the ball. Not because you are attacking, but because the ball is being kicked around. I have received, when I talked about that with coaches and with players, they say, okay, Chris, if I want to cause a counterattack, okay, if you're winning a game, I know I don't want to talk about strategy here, but since we are so close to the topic, let's talk about that. If you're winning a game in Leeway and you want to cause a counterattack, you want to bring the opponent to your field and do a counterattack, which are very legit. So let's put here the scenario. You have one attacker here, another attacker here, another attacker here, and another attacker here. And these attackers will be marked because they are all legal. Make no mistake, these attackers has to be one player here, another one here, another one here, and another one here, because if you are the coach of this team and you want to keep your job, you better put a player marking them. So let's put our midfield here, right? So you can bring the ball to here, bring the opponent to your field, like you would, and then once the team has, you can launch a counterattack. This is very different than going with the ball, crossing midfield, and then kicking the ball back. Okay? So this is a very different scenario. The last point I want to talk about is and in the forward rule, we solve this problem. And the last rule, we are almost at 20 minutes now, is the Sidekick In. How the Sidekick In is the way that we put the ball back in game when the ball goes outbound. We already talked about in the first video. So let's analyze what happens in soccer. In soccer, when the ball goes outbound, right? Anywhere, here. You put the ball with both hands behind the line, and you have to throw the ball as far, as high, as whatever you can to your teammate with both hands on the ball. This is a very ineffective way, because you cannot throw a ball very far away with both hands on the ball. We know that. This is biomechanics, right? We studied all that. And this was designed when the throw-in was used, was not to be an attack point, was just to put the ball back in game. But in the 21st century, we went a much more competitive game, faster game. So what we do, so you cannot do much with the ball if you are throwing the ball by hand with both feet on the ground and throwing the ball with both hands. This is a fact. Even if you drive the ball with a towel or run behind 15 yards, 10 yards, and run to the sideline, you're still not going to be able to kick this 30, 40 yards. It's not going to happen. Well, in Leeway, it's very simple. Where the ball goes out, you put the ball on the line or by the line, and you kick the ball with your feet. You can kick the ball much further, much higher, much faster. And one detail, in Leeway, to increase even more the usefulness of the Sidekick In from any location, it does not need referee authorization. All kicks in, all kicks except the major penalty kick and the direct kick with a barrier, with a main barrier, only these two require referee authorization. All other kicks, corner kick, direct kick without barrier, indirect kick, frontal kick, all other kicks does not require referee authorization. Sidekick in. So you just can kick the ball, including to the goal. You can score a goal from the side kick. It's completely legal. You can cross the ball. You can cross the ball here to the area. Somebody can head the ball, can kick the ball. You can use this as an attacker. If you are in the defense, you can kick this ball long, make a long launch to your teammate in the attack. So it is useful. It rewards the possession of the ball of the team that has the side kick in. Okay? So these were the 3 points. I could talk a lot more. We are already near 20 minutes. These are the 3 points that we went over. The offside rule, the forward rule, and the side kick in. We understand that with these three rules, the way that they work in Leeway, we brought in an objective manner a superior aspect, a superior rule than what we have in soccer for the same situation. Thank you very much, and please don't forget to watch the whole videos, look at the whole video, the whole content. The videos are short, but the whole video is necessary to be looked at. And subscribe to our channel, okay? Thank you very much.